We have breaking news right now. According to CNN, the Trump administration vetted and approved the suspect's asylum application in today's National Guard shooting, and Republicans are freaking out because for the past several hours, they blamed President Biden, they blamed Democrats, and well, the truth is very different. NBC News has confirmed that the suspect of today's horrific shooting of two National Guard members in Washington, D.C., was a 29-year-old Afghan man. We learned from Reuters that he came into the United States in 2021 as part of the operation to bring and repatriate essentially Afghan nationals from Afghanistan following the United States' withdrawal into the United States under a special visa program. Now we're learning that the Trump administration vetted his application for asylum, which was submitted December 2024, granted it in April of 2025. And well, a lot of folks on the right are freaking out. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Spread the word. Now, before I talk about this and show you exactly what I mean by this, there is so much Islamophobia, so much hate, so much just horrific commentary coming out of the right tonight, blaming Muslims in the United States of America. And that is just not okay. And I need to make something clear. That is not okay. And let's just jump right in and let me show you exactly what I mean, because CNN is now confirming that the Trump administration granted this man.
That he comes here from Afghanistan. Now, this is a guy who's been living in Washington State, not Washington, D.C., on the other end of the country. He comes here from Afghanistan in the summer of 2021. Remember what that was like. Refugees fleeing Afghanistan. People had to be recommended by U.S. people on one end, vetted on this end by government background checks as far as they could do in Afghanistan. Have sponsors and so on. He settled in Washington. He applies for asylum in December of 2024. Now he goes through another vetting process involving that, and he's approved for asylum in April of this year under the Trump administration. He comes in under the Biden administration. These checks are being...
Comes in under the Biden administration, approved for asylum under the Trump administration. And while that completely undercuts the narrative, so many of these people on the right have been spinning that this is President Biden's fault. Take a look at this from Byron Donald, a Republican congressman.
To securing the nation's capital for everybody.
And, you know, when we have these big debates about these literally sitting senators sitting around talking about how the orders, maybe their orders, they might think, to be deployed are somehow illegal and that they are allowed to disobey them, I always think about what those young men and women who are serving in uniform must be thinking about all of this as they try to carry out their job, that maybe what they're doing is illegal, maybe they should be disobeying their orders, and now they're getting shot at. What must be going through their minds?
I think, honestly, what's probably going through their minds is, oh, my gosh, we were here just on a simple mission given by the president of the United States. And now you have an Afghan foreign national who came into this country because Joe Biden, frankly, did one of the most stupidest things that has ever been done with the withdrawal of Afghanistan. They brought in a bunch of...
He wasn't the only one.
Chairman, you know, to hear the left, to hear the Democrats, the progressives go out there and say that this creates more military, more, people in uniform in general, whether it be police or National Guardsmen, it triggers people, it makes them feel unsafe. I've just never bought into that argument. It makes me feel more safe, not less safe.
Absolutely, and we've seen a difference in Washington, D.C. Crime is down
hold on,
significantly.
Chairman, hold on. We just got this. I need to get to it. This just in, sources are telling Fox News that the shooter is an illegal immigrant from Afghanistan who came in during Operation Allies, welcome under the Biden administration, and he overstayed that visa. All right, Chairman, so Fox News is learning that this person was here illegally, overstayed his visa, and that's who this shooter profile is. What's your immediate reaction?
Well, my immediate reaction is we tried desperately to get an accounting of all the people that came from Afghanistan to the United States during that disastrous withdrawal during the Biden administration. That was a huge priority for the House Oversight Committee. We never got that information. We were never allowed to get that information because I don't think the government had any idea. I don't think they kept an accurate account.
Why didn't he ask the Trump administration? Trump administration vetted him. Trump administration had his asylum application. The Department of Homeland Security under Kristi Noem approved it. Why didn't they vet him? Why didn't they approve? Why didn't they ask of it now? Meanwhile, I think this is an important lesson to not jump to conclusions, as Chris Deluzio said tonight.
Brothers and sisters in arms, they serve with their families in West Virginia. Just awful news. And I really, if you're a praying type, pray that those two folks come through.
I mean, obviously, the latest we know is they are in critical condition right now, being treated in separate hospitals. Now, it didn't take long, Congressman. After these shootings, people did start posting online criticizing you and the 5 other Democratic members of Congress for posting your video, suggesting that it may somehow have put a target on the National Guardsmen's backs. Now, I know you didn't mention any specific orders in the video, but some critics of the president have suggested that National Guard deployments around the country, broadly speaking, are not always legal. So I wanted to give you a chance to respond to some of this criticism, which I'm sure you've already seen.
Yeah, it's just crazy stuff, outrageous stuff. I mean, it's been, what, a half hour since we've even learned any basic facts about the alleged shooter here. Dangerous rhetoric. And let's be clear, the only threats and calls for violence came from the president and his supporters after he called for our arrest, our death.
I need to make something clear. Number one, in tragedy events like this, stop rushing to judgment. On the right, on the left, doesn't matter. Stop rushing to judgment. We didn't learn that the Trump administration granted this man asylum until minutes ago. And yet the right jumped on this idea that it was President Biden's fault, that Donald Trump essentially did nothing wrong, and here we are. And at the same time, I need everyone to remember something very, very important here, because Pete Hegseth ordered 500 more National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. 6 days ago, a judge in Washington, D.C. ruled that the deployment of the National Guard to Washington, D.C. was illegal. That was a ruling. It is illegal for Pete Hegseth to deploy more National Guard troops to Washington, D.C., even though that is what they want. And well, tonight, I want you, if you're watching this, to not spread hate, not flame this Islamophobic rhetoric coming from the right. Stick to the facts. Stick to the news. It was a horrific tragedy, a horrific shooting. It should have never happened in our country. Should have never happened. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I will have another update for you when we learn more. So stay tuned for